to the Filmcast review of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. I'm going to read the plot summary of this movie from IMDb. Ethan Hunt and the IMF team race against time to find the Entity, a rogue artificial intelligence that can destroy mankind. End quote. All right. This is the sequel, the direct continuation of the storyline that we saw a few years ago in Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. A lot of open threads left at the end of that film, and hopefully they were paid off in this one. But let's start with Devindra Hardawar. What did you think of this movie as a conclusion, not only to that story, but possibly for the entire franchise?
I feel like my thoughts on this thing have been maybe spoiled if you read my Engadget review. But I think this movie is a mess. And I think the move into full-on science fiction, which they did in Dead Reckoning Part 1, it bothered me then. And in this movie, it is a goddamn disaster. You know, like, this is a movie I've been looking forward to for so long. This is a series that started with really grounded scenarios. Like, sure, Ethan Hunt jumped off of an exploding helicopter onto the tunnel train at one point. But that was a grounded film. The first movie really took its time to get to there. And now we're at world-ending AI. Ethan Hunt is the goddamn messiah. And this movie spends so long telling us that Ethan Hunt is the only one that can save us. And I'm just like, as much as I love this franchise, and I will make a lot of excuses for Tom Cruise, like, as a movie star, despite his personal life, I found it kind of sickening. And the thing is, like, it took this movie 90 minutes to really ramp up for me. Like, a full half of this 3-hour long motion picture, I was tapping my watch, being like, oh, we're getting going, right? This movie's happening. No, it's a lot of setup. It's a lot of plot explanation. And you can blame a lot of things. It's like the sort of like jazzy nature in terms of how they develop these movies. But also, I think this is the point where Tom Cruise got a little too full of his shit. Like, this is his finale to his marquee franchise. And like, it just feels a little too full of itself, and it's a damn shame, because there is some good stuff in the second half. There's a lot of great stuff. There's stuff that feels like James Cameron's The Abyss in this movie. I didn't expect that. There's some wonderful stunt work around planes, which we see a bit in the trailers and stuff. Like, at some point, it does deliver a bit of what Mission Impossible actually is. But I think they made a huge mistake in Dead Reckoning Part 1 by just going full AI. Going full sci-fi, saying there's this killer AI out here and it's going to destroy the world. I think that kind of ruined whatever groundedness this franchise had. They belabored the point so much in the first movie. They spent so long setting up here, and then even they tell us things sort of like they give us they mention things around the AI that they never actually show either too. So this is a movie that tells you this AI is going to destroy the world. But unlike a movie, maybe a sophisticated piece of cinema like Independence Day, where you see the threat and you see how the threat kills millions of people, like, oh, that's dangerous. We never actually really see that because we're so laser focused on Ethan Hunt being the only man who can save the world. And I don't know, guys, like I almost want to give up my Mission Impossible fan card while watching this movie because it felt embarrassing. It felt embarrassing if I brought somebody to this movie being like, I love Mission Impossible. Look at this. And this movie is essentially Tom Cruise. I am so great. Look at me. How great I am. The movie. And it sucks. I wish it was not that. At least it eventually turns into the Mission Impossible I like.
Well, I got to say, I agree with Devindra Hardawar about the pacing of this film. You know, the movie's almost 3 hours long and there is virtually no action for the first 1 hour and 20 minutes. But then once it picks up, it really does get going. Jeff Kanata, I am really curious. Do you agree with Devindra Hardawar on Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning?
Well, Dave, I guess you could say my thoughts on Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning are best summed up in the form of a limerick.
Let's hear it, Jeff.
For an outdated TV concept, it survived for so long because they kept it. Light on exposition, I saw this new mission, but I do not choose to accept it.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to say, bravo on concept it as the rhyme. That's very good, Jeff. That's like Eminem level limerick making. Nicely done.
I agree with every single thing that Devindra said. It's like word for word my review. This is the worst Mission Impossible movie of the franchise.
Ooh.
Holy shit.
Or it would be if there wasn't one of the greatest sequences at the end of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There's like 20, 25 minutes of this movie that is among the best Mission Impossible action sequences you will ever see. It is so good that it single-handedly plucks this movie out of absolute abysmal badness and makes it worth seeing in IMAX. Like, I recommend people go see this movie in IMAX to see 25 minutes of a 3-hour movie. There's some other sequences that are okay. There's one that's like half good. There's one spectacular, relentless, incredible, jaw-dropping sequence. And it makes purchasing a ticket for this in IMAX worthwhile. That said, just like Devindra said, the first half of this movie is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible, in my opinion. It really is this bizarre deification of Ethan Hunt and by extension Tom Cruise. And it is crawling so far up its own anus. It's like Tom Cruise is like dropping down horizontally in his own ass, hovering above his prostate. I don't know.
It's like that dive in Rogue Nation, Jeff, where he dives into the underwater tank. It's just
Right,
a big
yeah.
hole. He's just
that's
diving
shot
right
from
into that hole.
right above his shoulder, and he just plummets right into his own asshole.
Yeah.
It is. It's crazy. I mean, there's like a special code word that's the release date of the first movie. It's just like, come on, guys, we get it. We all are here because we love these movies. It's not the friggin' Bible. It's not what's the Scientology book?
Dianetics?
Dianetics.
Yeah.
This is not Dianetics here, people. I could not believe what I was watching. It is atrocious. It's bad filmmaking. It is if I have to hear somebody say The Entity one more time, I might leap into Tom Cruise's sphincter. It is.
That's what he wants, Jeff.
That's what he wants. Don't give the man what he wants. The notion of what we're dealing with is so absurd, and the movie does no work to. It just has a bunch of people telling you it's bad.
Yes.
And the if you break down the logistics of how this is all supposed to work, it makes no sense. I mean, we're literally told this AI has taken over all of. It's like it was written by a senator in 1998. You know, it's like the cyber is bad, guys. We got to protect the cyber. And if this AI, if we take it offline, we're going to lose all of the cyber. It's all the cyber is gone. If we do
the cyber.
If we either let this thing take over everything or we lose the cyber. And it's like, what like child mind came up with this plot?
And there's something we'll discuss in spoilers, Jeff, but there is like an easy alternative that is very clear that is not mentioned until like 2 hours and 30 minutes into this movie. But we will talk about that in spoilers. Yeah.
Like, it kind of doesn't matter in these movies, except this one makes it matter, right? I am willing to forgive Missions Impossible so much plot-wise, and have done. Like I was not down on Dead Reckoning Part 1 in the way Dave was. I thought that movie was pretty fun. I kind of didn't care about all the messy mumbo jumbo because who cares? That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to watch Tom Cruise do crazy things, and I'm here to have a fun time with all of the cool sidekicks, and I'm here to have a mission that seems impossible, and then we can actually pull it off. That's what I'm here for. This movie absolutely jettisons all of that for 90 minutes, like a full movie length time.
Yeah.
It has no interest in giving you any of that stuff. It forgets to have fun.
Yes.
It completely forgets to have any fun. It's like, this is super serious, super doer, super self-important. And like, its only purpose, it seems, in the first hour and a half is to convince you that Ethan Hunt is some Christ-like Messiah figure. And I'm like, what? I'm so bored of this. It's so tiresome. And to what extent? It's like fan service in its own movie for its own star and producer. It ruins something that is so fun and so joyous. And these movies are great. And then in the third hour of this movie, it manages to find the fun again and do something truly spectacular. And it's like, okay, well, that's what I'm here for. Why did I have to endure so much garbage to get to this? Like, this is what we should have been doing. This is what the other movies do. Why did we take so long to get here? It's really frustrating. And it made this movie overall a pretty big disappointment, with a huge caveat of a truly excellent sequence.
I've got an editing fix for this movie. Just start mid plane fight, freeze frame. Wonder how I got in this mess. Let's rewind.
Record scratch.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say I kind of liked it, guys.
Did you arrive at liking it, or did you like it from the word go?
I definitely didn't like it from the word go. Here's the thing. I don't mind the Ethan Hunt is the critical plot factor that is going to unlock the rest of the universe type situation, because and yes, it is self-serious, and like, I don't like that about it, because this series is about a organization called the Impossible Mission Force. It's inherently extremely goofy, and yet the tone of the movie does not match that, right?
It never really has.
It never really has. However, here's why I didn't mind a lot of that masturbatory material in the first part of the movie is, man, guys, like, what a journey we have been through with Tom Cruise across these 8 movies, right?
Yeah.
This movie is not just another Mission Impossible film. It's not just a sequel to Dead Reckoning Part 1. It's really a closing argument for the franchise. It's really like, here's what this was all about. Here's what it all meant. Here's why you should
over the
care.
head of the closing argument. Let us, the audience, make those connections. Don't pummel us with gravitas, you know?
And we should point out, by the way, that according to like a profile that GQ did of Tom Cruise and Chris McQuarrie, they are coy. That's the term used. They are coy when it comes to whether or not there's going to be more Mission Impossible films. So like, I think probably a large part of it will depend on how well this one does. This is theoretically one of the most expensive films ever made, because of how many times it had to shut down because of COVID and so on. They tried to film these 2 back to back. I don't think that worked out as they hoped. Unclear whether or not it's actually going to be the final Mission Impossible film. For the purpose of this conversation, I'm going to assume it is, because of how the tone of the movie is. It's called The Final Reckoning. It really wraps a lot of things up. So that's the assumption we're going to make here. And I will say I didn't mind it because, hey, we've been through a lot of good and bad times with Tom Cruise, and he has delivered us some really spectacular action filmmaking during the course of the last 20, 30 years through this franchise. And I didn't mind taking a moment and kind of reflecting on the enormity of that.
Moment.
You know?
A moment? How about many moments?
And by a moment, I mean like the first
moments.
like 20 minutes of the movie, you know?
Oh, so many moments.
More than that.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind it. And I loved the callbacks. I thought they were like really well integrated into the movie, and we'll talk about them in spoilers. But I had no issue with the callbacks, with one exception that we will discuss.
The best part about the callbacks is that it's not the obvious stuff that gets called back.
Right.
Yes.
Which I think is really clever. I think that's I've never really seen that before. Usually the callback is a fan servicey thing that is there because that's what we all love a Boba Fett. Let's
Yeah,
get a
right.
Boba Fett back up in here. You know,
Yeah,
everybody loves a Boba Fett. It's awesome that this movie has the courage to like mine the unexpected from the previous.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And they feel like pretty organic. The callbacks feel like pretty organic, and they feel like they invested. It wasn't just like, hey, remember the thing? It's like they invested time into integrating them into this movie.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think just the first hour and a half, hour 20 minutes, hour and a half is a slog because
That's a whole movie.
That is a whole movie.
so much
too
of
long
it
to be a slog.
So much of it is spent not only kind of deifying Tom Cruise as you guys discuss, but also literally just explaining what they're trying to accomplish in this movie.
Yeah.
Like
Too much explaining.
Just
Ad
explaining.
nauseam.
Just
yes.
Yeah.
And
Just
this
explaining
is what
laboriously.
Yeah.
When you go full sci-fi, and this I wrote about this in Gadget, you have to explain more things, right? It's not just the rabbit's foot. It's not just the knock files or a bioterrorist weapon like a Mission Impossible 2. No, it's many things. And how does it affect the world? And how does society respond to this? And how does it actually work? And how do we stop it? All those conversations kind of had to be accomplished because you entered science fiction territory. Maybe you shouldn't have, but I think I can paraphrase your review, Dave, from The Simpsons. It's just a little pompous. It's still good. I
think the problem. I think they created their own problem here. It's an unforced error. In kind of what you're talking about with sci-fi, but also in the you've literally created an amorphous, intangible villain. You've created a villain that Tom Cruise can't punch, and it's the least interesting thing you could have done, in my opinion. I think it's the least interesting big bad that you could ever prop up in these movies because who cares? Like, what even is it? There's so much energy spent defining the problem, and then the definition isn't interesting, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I think in terms of the entity being the villain, I would say there's two ways in which the entity reflects real life anxieties, right? There's obviously AI being something that a lot of Hollywood creatives are finding really upset by. Like they find the very concept of it, it's built on copyright theft. It's ruinous for the environment. And a lot of people who are in the creative industries think that AI is terrible. It's coming for their jobs, and it's terrible, and it's going to make humanity worse. And
hey,
so
that is a nuanced and interesting argument you just made. How about if I just say, this AI wants to destroy us all? It wants to destroy the world.
We have a big map on the wall showing what it got. It got this part. It got that part. Where does it get next?
I lived through the 90s. I lived through Terminator 2. I know my killer AI. And what it can do. That movie really makes you feel the effects of like what killer AI could do.
Well, the other thing is also that the idea of you find out very early on in the film that like the entity has made it so it's impossible for us to communicate with each other because it's like changing, it's making deep fakes of all footage online and
there's
stuff
no
like that.
truth anymore.
There's no truth anymore. So
anymore.
It's the specter of misinformation. So it's those two things. And you may find that to be unsatisfying or uninteresting.
What's unsatisfying about it is we don't need a giant big bad to do it. It's we're all living it. It's not like there's no big bad thing that can be vanquished that will then undo that. And to suggest that there is ridiculous. And we all on the face of it know that that's nonsense.
It was clearly a big swing. They tried to have this Gabriel Isai Morales guy kind of sub in as a villain, but it does, as I think you guys are implying, it doesn't really work because the entity is the real villain. So I will agree that, there is, I really enjoyed all the time Tom Cruise went up against a big bad, like a dude, right?
Yeah.
That was a big bad. And we lose that here really in a major way, The
movie even makes that argument because it sort of steps us back through all of the great villains that he's faced, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Right. Like it gives us like a recap of all of that. And it's like, That was great. Why aren't we doing that right now?
At one point, they said, "Remember that guy who could have been Wolverine? He fought him too."
Yeah.
It's weird
All
they
right.
called it out like that. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. It sounds like this is like your worst mission. Like I would put this at top of the middle. That's what I would say in terms of Mission Impossible. You guys are like,
but for one sequence.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the bottom of the barrel for me. But for that one sequence,
would you put this below? Like, what is the worst Mission Impossible film then? Like,
I think 2 has always been my lowest.
2 has been your lowest, right?
Yeah.
Devindra, what's your lowest?
It would have to be this one because
this is the worst
like
Mission
Dead
Impossible
Reckoning. Just my most disappointed, the worst one to me, because
100%.
just like Dead Reckoning Part 1, which you called your greatest disappointment of that year, Dave.
Yes.
So let's not run away from that.
No,
I'm
not running away at all. However, I thought this was much better than Dead Reckoning Part 1.
No,
personally.
because
Disagree.
with Dead Reckoning Part 1, they're like, okay, I don't like this AI stuff. This is all kind of incomplete. Maybe they'll come back around and like really, really do something with this. Like maybe they will save themselves from it. Instead, they dug themselves deeper into the hole that began in Dead Reckoning Part 1. So have to say I'm the most disappointed in this movie. Mission Impossible 2, for all of its many, many flaws, its terrible script, I really enjoy watching that movie because it is also made with such a flair, and we've talked about this when we reviewed it. Like, it is so operatic and moody and stylish, and it's doing something more than just making Ethan Hunt the greatest person in the world. Like, it's stylistic in a way that I like from John Woo movies. This movie, you have to sit through 3 hours to essentially get 25 minutes of really good stuff, and to me that is unconscionable.
All right, well, agree to disagree. We have much more to discuss, but those are our overall thoughts on Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Let's get to spoilers starting right now. I would like to walk through some of the major events of the film with you guys. All right. So
do we have 3 hours?
Can we just skip to the biplane? The biplane is so good, you guys. It's so good.
Real good.
So nothing in the first half of the movie worked. Like Ving Rhames' character Luther gets his goodbye in the first half of the film.
Yeah.
Right?
Boy, did you guys notice that?
That's sad.
It doesn't look like Ving Rhames can stand.
It's rough. It does.
I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah.
I thought that was like kind of a nice moment, just like, hey, they got to say their goodbye. This is his goodbye to the franchise. He's been with us since he has been the one constant in every single movie. And
that came from a comment saying, why does the black guy always have to die in these movies? Like, they took it to heart and kind of love that until they actually killed him.
Until they actually killed him. I have to say, it was a little weird. Like, it felt like there was a whole cut subplot with his nurse. Like, why is that such a major character in the movie? But anyway, I thought it was nice to like that. This is actually somebody who, when they died, I actually felt bad because it's like, oh, he's been with us since the beginning. You buy into the relationship that he and Ethan have with each other, and he has like a very kind of impactful death, so to speak. So I appreciated that. But yeah, they at that point, Ethan puts on the mask, which I appreciated as well, because I remember in the first movie, Dead Reckoning Part 1, Gabriel's wearing that weird ass entity mask. I'm like, what the hell is he doing in there?
Yeah.
And then in this movie, they actually pay that off, and it's actually like kind of cool.
And I thought it was not cool at all. I thought it was the dumbest thing to do.
Okay.
Hey, do you want to get in this freaking cask of Amontillado? Fucking, it's just like.
And what did that accomplish other than showing him? Like the bat, like I don't understand what the point of that was. It's kind of the movie's
way of setting up what the stakes are, which is that like,
sure.
If we don't win, the entity will have us all commit nuclear war.
Why would the entity show that to him?
Makes no sense.
Wouldn't the better play be use Ethan Hunt as your pawn to essentially make your thing happen? I don't understand why that happened. I don't understand so many things about this movie.
One of the messages of the movie is that Ethan Hunt's actions have consequences. And I did like that as an idea. So for instance, he got the rabbit's foot in Mission Impossible 3. And we find out that led to the entity in this movie.
Dude, this movie has such Rise of Skywalker vibes to it. Mm-hmm. It feels like the Rise of Skywalker of the Mission Impossible franchise. And that in particular felt very like, somehow Palpatine is back. It felt very like, we're going to go back through all the movies and find something we can pluck out and make relevant. It didn't feel like, oh, brilliant seeding or what a cool retcon. It felt like, man, you guys are trying so hard to make all of these feel like one thing instead of individual things.
I disagree with you on that point, mostly because the point is that like Ethan Hunt has always had to trade the safety of the world for the safety of people he cares about. And what this movie is presupposing is, what if that actually had consequences? Because he got the rabbit's foot because he's trying to save his wife, right? And it's like, actually, you shouldn't have done that, Ethan, probably, because now the entire world is in jeopardy. It is very funny, though, that if you go back and watch Mission Impossible 3, the rabbit's foot has a biohazard symbol on it. And they're like, when they're writing this, they're like, well, how are we going to justify that? And they explain it's because it is a digital toxin. That's why it has a bio, which I
really got to explain that.
I thought
People
you
will
would
go
like
back
that.
and check.
I thought you would like that, Devindra. That's why it has a biohazard.
Oh yeah, I love
it's
all
a
the
digital toxin.
Yeah.
That's why you put a
biohazard
symbol on. But I appreciate that it's like, hey, all of your actions have in some way like contributed to our current mess that we're in right now.
I mean, that is a cool idea.
Yeah,
you could have conveyed that in an email in like the first 5 to 10 minutes of this movie. Set up the stakes, set up where we are.
I think it basically was conveyed in an email. It was conveyed in this like flashback that he has while watching the mission tape. But
it's so much setup. It is so much setup for, we're waiting to see this franchise end. Just you spent the whole last movie setting up. Deliver. Get on with it. And I kind of felt myself kind of shouting at the movie several times. It's just like, let's get going here. And it's a shame. Like, I don't want to feel like I want to be like I'm tapping my watch during Mission Impossible. To me, that feels like something went wrong here.
So they need to travel north to locate the coordinates of the submarine so that Ethan can go down and get the actual device. It was kind of interesting. I think they retconned so many things, right? Like, one of the things that became clear is that the submarine crashed in 2012, right around the time of Mission Impossible 3. I think, like, you know what I'm saying? So they made the timeline work out. And then we meet at the North Pole William Dunlow, the CIA analyst from Mission Impossible 1. I loved this. I thought it was so cool that they got.
It feels like it was done just for you and Mission Impossible sickos like us.
They got this one dude
this dude. He has a good face. Dude, I've remembered his face for decades. So yeah,
I would say I don't know what that guy's been up to.
Yeah,
but he needs to get some work. He's great in this movie.
He is good.
Great in this movie, and it's like, what a gift for like somebody that got an under 5 on a movie 40 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever it was. You know, this guy gets a meaty part.
Yes.
And he freaking brings it.
Yes.
He is so good in this movie.
And I love the relationship between him and his wife. It feels like very believable. I'm rooting for them. Like
yes.
There's many times when it's like he and or his wife might die during the film. And it's like, no, like they can't die. You know, that's very upsetting.
I have a problem with that though, because it is sort of like they try to confront like, I ruined your life, didn't I? Like Ethan Hunt is saying, and he's like, no, my life was terrible. You gave me my life on this island here.
Well, I'll just say,
I feel like there would be some regret.
I'll just say, Devindra,
too easy.
How immediately on board he is with all of it, burning down his own house and everything he's ever owned. You know, he's all cool with all that.
You know, Devindra and Jeff, I understand what you're saying, but as somebody who has previously lived an extremely stressful existence and is now contemplating a move to a part of the world where the pace of life is going to be slower, it really got to me. So I'll just say that I really the Dunlow speech where he explains like, actually, you helped me unlock the true meaning of life. It resonated.
So a lot of water carrying in this review. I don't know. It's like, it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
Okay,
I think him and Tremel Tillman are the MVPs of this movie. I mean, other than Cruise, right? Because Cruise is freaking hanging from a plane. But other than Cruise, Tremel Tillman brings it, and this guy what's this actor's name? I want to give him credit. I can't find him in the they don't list him because I think it's a spoiler. I don't see him on the IMDb.
Rolf Saxon. Cool
Dude,
name, by the way.
Great
Rolf,
name.
Rolf
Great
Saxon. Name of the
Rolf.
actor.
Great. The fact that like they pluck this dude from an under five, like he's not even in that movie.
Yeah.
He's in that movie for 4 seconds.
Yes.
Right?
Let's hold up this knife.
Incredible.
Not only that, he gets completely owned in that movie too, because what's her name? The woman from the first one like injects the poison into his coffee.
Yeah.
And he like ends up hurling for like 30 minutes.
It's the perfect example of there's no small parts, only small actors.
Yes.
Adage. Like this guy just had to be patient long enough to get his freaking spot in the sun, man.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I'm glad we agree on one thing in this review, which is that
I agree he's good.
Yeah.
Why are they traveling? Why are they now a traveling team going to another country? Like I don't quite buy that, because now we're the crew traveling to stop the bombs. I don't know.
Well, they need all the help they can get, Devindra. They need all the help they can get. They need all the
Also,
help.
shout out to Katie O'Brien, who was in the submarine too.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, very nice to see her. Tramel Tillman.
Is bursting at the seams with big cameos.
Yeah, Hannah Waddingham isn't, like all these people.
Nick Offerman.
Yeah.
Angela Bassett.
Yeah. I mean,
by the way, in the past 2 weeks, I've seen Angela Bassett play president twice, and also completely lose control of the country and has to rely on one white dude to save her. So I feel like she needs more plot lines. She needs
more
her to see her as
diversity
president.
I mean,
I would love to see her as president, and be badass.
She got so many phone calls when Hollywood thought this election was going to go one way. It did not go.
Yeah. So anyway, they need all help. I will say this about this movie. Like, in terms of the callbacks, love the William Dunlow thing. Amazing.
Yeah, sure.
I was fine with the rehashing of the actually the thing from the third movie led into this and the other thing, like all the stuff and how it all contributed to this movie. I liked all that stuff. There is one exception though.
Wait, before you get to the exception, what about May 22nd, 1996 as being the greatest, the day that changed everything?
The one exception of the callback that they went too far with that one was retconning Shea Wiggum's character to be Jin Phelps' son.
Yeah.
At that point, man, all bets are off. I was just like,
That's happened so late in the
Jim
proceedings.
Phelps Jr.?
And it's just you're Jin Phelps' son, and you have a different name than him, and you didn't mention it in last movie at all.
You're Jim Phelps' son.
Like,
you're also a bad agent who can't tell that your father was actually a piece of shit. Like, not blaming. There's so many questions. Now you're asking more.
It's J.J. Abrams shit. It's like
much too
related to Palpatine. Here we go.
Yeah. So did not like that at all. I'm also going to say this, that it is really, really disappointing they couldn't get Rebecca Ferguson for these two movies, right? Like,
it is so disappointing.
Because that would have been such a good conclusion.
You know what?
Imagine if there was no Haley Atwell.
There's
right?
no Haley Atwell. Yeah.
Imagine if it was all Rebecca Ferguson. It would have been such a satisfying conclusion. And instead, they need to bring in, Rebecca Ferguson wanted to do Silo instead, so they need to do that. And they bring in Haley Atwell, and they do, in extremely excruciating, pained fashion, justify why they have Haley Atwell in this movie. Is because they need somebody to pick up a piece of plastic really
super fast though.
Super
She's
fast.
good.
Super fast.
And you need a thief who can do sleight of hand real fast to do that. And that's why they need Haley Atwell that's why they need a jewel thief in this movie to do that.
My thing, the problems with these movies really goes down to what is Haley Atwell's character's last name?
It doesn't matter.
Who
doesn't matter.
Is she?
Yeah.
Who is she?
Yeah.
What
She's
is
a thief.
she?
She has quick hands. I think
she likes.
Maybe you weren't listening when we were talking about how quick her hands are.
Yeah. Her hands are very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. We used to spend time with characters. We used to build up the Mission Impossible team. Now we're just finding them in random airports all over the world. Okay, I guess that's what we're doing.
It's true.
Right.
It did feel like this was a group of people like what's the other guy that just starts hanging out with them for no reason? Oh God, the dude who's like there in the whole
partner to Shea Wiggum. Yeah.
Yeah. It just feels like, Impossible Mission Force is a group of the most highly trained, specialized, or any guy that just happened to be around.
Well, I don't know if you know this, Jeff, but they need to go rogue virtually every single film because they become enemies of the U.S. government.
Yeah.
So, beggars can't be choosers.
We can't learn, apparently.
Degas, by the way, is the name of the character you think of, played by
He's
Greg.
awesome. he's
Greg
awesome,
Tarzan
but like
Davis,
it really felt like, you know, Ethan Hunt and his B team sideshow. It felt like none of these characters I was invested in except for Simon Pegg. We kill off Ving Rhames, so Simon Pegg is the only person I really care about at all.
And he is there. It feels like they're setting him up to be like the field lead, right? Like, because he is, he's dying, he's managing stuff, he's doing stuff remotely. That's kind of cool. Why is Ethan Hunt separated from the team for most of the movie? This is a team franchise.
Not anymore.
Again,
question.
To be fair, it's often the Ethan Hunt show in most of these films.
It is often the Ethan Hunt show, but we have over the past few years.
I agree with you. He's like not even in communication with them.
He's on another side of the planet.
He's on a whole other. He's on a boat. You know. Yeah. So we get to the part where he's in the submarine with Tremel Tillman, and they decide to like let him go down into the other submarine. And I mean, Jeff, like in my opinion, this sequence was even better than the plane sequence in some ways.
It's
in
good.
some ways,
it's good. It's good. It's scary, but
the end of this sequence is excellent. I think all the stuff leading up to it is not particularly interesting. Like they do so much effort to be like Tom Cruise is really in this helmet, everybody, and it's like okay, but this is a soundstage, right? Like I'm not in awe of what I'm watching here. And
he's holding his breath a lot.
I am in awe. I am in awe because he's it's when he's in the submarine. That's what you're talking about as the end of the sequence, right? Like the submarine
the end
is
of the sequence
tumbling around, right? Yeah, okay, go ahead.
The end of the sequence being when he actually has to disrobe and get himself through the torpedo tube and then comes out and it's hit by stuff and he like all that stuff is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how they shot that at all. I feel like there's lots of CG and all that.
Yeah, sure, certainly. But you weren't impressed by the part where he's in the submarine, the water level is changing, and the nuclear missiles are clanging around. Like you don't.
I wasn't into that.
I thought it was incredible. Because
by that point, I was so hating this movie and just waiting for something interesting to happen.
I thought it was one of the greatest Mission Impossible stunt sequences, and possibly one of the greatest sequences ever, like in all of cinema. Just like this whole mission thing. So wow, we had really different reaction to that. But I thought it was
very
amazing.
different reactions. Yeah. I will say the I was getting a lot of Abyss vibes from that whole sequence, and it's like watching the Abyss. That is a movie where it's like I am unconsciously holding my breath because of what is happening and what they're accomplishing there. So it kind of gets there, certainly with his escape, but it also just feels like again, get on with it. You know, it feels like it goes on for too long for me to care, like the actual stakes of it. I understand, like he is probably actually holding his breath for a long time for a lot of those sequences. He did that for the Rogue Nation thing. They made a lot of news about that. I would love to know more about how they shot the sequence, but I wish I cared more. Yeah,
I think that Rogue Nation underwater sequence is way better.
Yes, agreed.
Strong disagree. This is incredible. Like this is like mind-blowingly good. And what's great is it's classic Mission Impossible, where it's Ethan Hunt's doing the mission, and then like something goes wrong, and then another thing goes wrong, and then another thing goes wrong. And I just love the way it's structured. Why would the submarine be spinning like that? Like I don't think that's super clear, but like it's just like wow, this is a very like almost like Jackie Chan style sequence of like this thing going horribly wrong. So anyway, I'm sorry we didn't have the same experience, but I thought it was mind-blowingly good. So yeah.
I think it. Like I said, the sort of latter beats of that sequence when he's actually trying to extricate himself from the sub, all that stuff, I was like, wow, that's amazing. But I think the reason I would put the Rogue Nation underwater sequence higher is I understood what he was trying to do there. I understood why that was difficult, and I understood the stakes of it. I understood his predicament, the moment to moment of each. I understood the geography of that crazy, 360 degree thing that he was inside. Like all of it just felt clearer, more concise, more. And that's why I think the latter half of that sequence is better, is because like, oh, he's trying to get out of this thing before it traps him in there forever. I get that. I like all the other stuff. He's just sort of like blindly walking around looking for something. I don't know where he's headed, or it felt like it was missing. I mean, for a movie that is all about just regurgitating information at you, it didn't give me enough information about the logistics of that particular moment to feel like all those beats were like, I'm not with him on it until the last half, at least for me.
Fair enough. So anyway, that's one of the major set pieces, but then eventually things converge in where do they end up? South Africa, right? And
dude, by the way, I love the very strained explanation of why we need to have biplanes is because you gotta go low tech.
Oh, you gotta go analog.
Yeah,
you gotta go analog.
And then Isai Morales is like, I got two. Just so you know. Just so you know.
Just a little piece of information you may or might not be interested in. I have two of them.
Yeah, just in case.
Different colors, so in case somebody was watching us, they would know who's who.
Yes. No reason for him to reveal that information.
Yeah,
he
but,
did.
Yeah. Here we go.
And really what they did, guys, was they really just recreated the end of Mission Impossible Fallout, right? They really just were like,
but man,
which is you basically to make it clear, like you have Tom Cruise doing some aerial insanity. And then at the same time, you're trying to like defuse a bomb,
right?
Yeah, at the same time, like that's the same setup as Fallout.
But
it worked
bigger.
in Fallout. It works here.
Yeah.
It's very similar, except Benji's like dying. But like other than that, it's like kind of a similar setup.
If they had killed Benji, I don't think I would have forgiven this movie.
Yeah.
Like they were so close to. Yeah. Man.
That said, I think it's a total cop out. They didn't kill Ethan.
Yes.
Like, if you're going Final Reckoning,
yes,
kill him off, man. Have some guts.
Spoilers. If James Bond can do it, Ethan Hunt can do it.
Yeah,
you should have had the balls to do it. Yeah,
I totally agree. But you know, let's not gloss over how incredible that biplane sequence is. It keeps going and keeps going. And I thought, oh, okay, we're basically doing the helicopter chase, but in biplanes. No, Tom Cruise literally does like 1940s wing walker stunt show at you go to the air show and you see the wing walkers. Like it's freaking amazing. And it's so well shot. The choreography is so great. This is a sequence where I understand the geography. I understand what everybody's attempting to do. The moment where he literally uses his own body to stop the flap from turning.
Yeah.
So the guy can't steer anymore. Like genius level stuff.
Yeah.
It is such a transcendently awesome sequence. You know, right up in Cruise's face, you see the effort, you see the wind smacking him around. It's like, it's so visceral. It's so immediate and real. It's all the things when Mission Impossible is at its best. It's doing all that stuff where you're just like, a human being did all of this.
That does seem impossible.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Jeff, I know why you love the sequence, by the way. It's the return of Nick Morton.
Yeah.
The Mummy's Nick Morton. As Matt Patches pointed out on Blue Sky, it's the exact same outfit. Tom Cruise is wearing the exact same outfit from The Mummy in this entire finale sequence. So, Jeff, you were just like having, you know, Mummy echoes.
Flashbacks, yeah.
I really enjoyed in GQ. There was a profile of Chris McQuarrie and Tom Cruise. They talked about making these movies and describing how they made this sequence. I'll read from that article. He says, the practice of going out onto the wing of a plane is called wing walking. And that is who Cruise went to first, some wing walkers. They said, what do you want to do? McQuarrie told me. And Tom said, I want to be on the wings of the plane, holding onto the tension wires, and I want to be in 0G between the wings. And wing walkers who do this for a living said, that will never happen. You can never do that. And Tom said, all right, well, thank you very much for your time. And he and McQuarrie went and found some different wing walkers, which is awesome. And apparently, like, you can't shoot for longer than 10 minutes because if you do like 14, 16 minutes, Tom Cruise can get hypothermic because of how cold it is up there. So they had to shoot that segment, you know, that whole section in like 10-minute increments. Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible what they were able to achieve. And it's far more impressive, I thought, than when he hung off the side of that like A6400 in Rogue Nation, which is kind of like a throwaway thing that there's no build up to. And this is like, oh, we're actually delivering. We're delivering on the promise of Tom Cruise hanging off the side of a plane. Really, is what this was.
I think the thing that's so awesome about this sequence is that it's not just hanging off the side of a plane. It is a full action sequence that takes place in the air on a plane, where it looks like he is not tethered to anything, and that is extraordinary. That because this sequence starts, and I said to myself, "Oh, I get it. I get the stunt. I understand the stunt that we're doing. It's." The end of Fallout where he's hanging underneath the grappling hook beneath the thing, like very impressive, but I kind of know where we're going. And then it just keeps evolving and keeps evolving, and all the different things that he thinks to do or is forced to do. That is what makes it transcendent to me, is that it's not just I'm hanging off the plane. Look at how amazing this is, which hey, I thought that was cool. Hanging off that A140, whatever they called it.
A6400 in the fifth movie. Yeah.
I thought that was cool. I really did. It's an amazing thing to have the camera right there. And he's like, his body is flopping against the side of it. I thought that was cool, but it's one thing, right? This is not one thing. This is dozens and dozens of individual stunts that are packed together into a coherent sequence. It's amazing.
Sorry. A400 is what I meant to say. Not A64. A400M, I believe, is the name of the plane. Yeah, that's the plane. Okay, sorry. Anyway, agreed with everything you're saying, Jeff. I'm glad you got something out of this movie.
Yeah, me too.
That's
me
nice.
too. I'm very glad because, dude, I was losing hope. I tell you what.
Yeah. It shouldn't take 2 bathroom breaks for me to get to a point where I'm like really impressed with the Mission Impossible movie, and this movie was pushing me, man.
Yeah. And there's a lot of shirtless Tom in this movie too.
There is a lot.
Yeah.
And I also think this is the first movie where I'm like, man, the age is finally showing for him. And God bless him. Like he is he's beyond 62.
62.
Yeah. So he looks incredible for what he is. He can do things that I certainly cannot do as a 41-year-old. So he's doing great. But also I can also see where he's like, maybe we should just wind down the action shenanigans at some point.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that he does an entire fight scene in his underpants.
Yep.
Yeah. At 62 is pretty amazing. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that at the end of this, are you guys kind of like, let's put this to bed. We don't need any more Mission Impossible movies. Is that kind of where you're at?
Yes.
I would love to see more eventually. I don't want to see more Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. I'm done with Ethan Hunt because you've told us, okay, he's the Messiah. He saved the world. That's it. That's the end of the story for him. Let's do new stories. Let's do new things. I kind of miss, think back to I think it was Rogue Nation, where Alec Baldwin has a line who's like, Ethan Hunt is the living manifestation of destiny. Yeah. That sort of tongue in cheek sort of approach to, this guy has main character juice. He cannot die. He could do whatever he wants. Sure. And we all enjoy it. I think that was a great approach to this character and sort of a self-awareness of the franchise. And both Dead Reckoning Part 1 and this one just lean all the way to the other end, being like, no, we actually do believe that Ethan Hunt will save us all, and that's why he exists. And it's so weird. It's so weird that we've gone to this direction into total science fiction, which to me just feels like that's the thing. That's the thing that we have to spend so much time discussing, explaining, everything, justifying. But at least we got Holt McKelney and all these folks in a Mission Impossible movie. At least he's fun. Because him saying, you gave him an airplane cruiser? You gave him a cruiser? That's good stuff. He is good in this movie too.
Tom Cruise does his own stunts, even when he's jumping the shark. And
boom.
I think, I think if you really want to say this guy's the Messiah, you got to do the one last thing that a Messiah does, and that's achieve martyrdom. You got to kill off that character. The fact that they don't kill off that character at the end is a total cop out. If you're telling me this guy's a Messiah and he's saving the world and this is it, this is the big last moment, don't let him walk off into the sunset.
Where did that parachute come from? Because he used the parachute. It failed. He's falling. Last we see him, he is falling. Cut to him getting up with a parachute.
Well, it's a backup parachute, Devindra.
Yeah.
Okay.
All parachutes.
We never see it.
They always have
we haven't seen him deploy.
They always have two.
Yeah. In fact, I've used one before.
Yeah. Nice.
Long story, but
oh boy,
when skydiving and the first chute didn't open, and I had to use
that's
chute.
Great.
Terrifying.
Oh
man. I want to know did Tom Cruise literally go plummet toward the earth in a parachute that was on fire for this movie? Because that's freaking crazy.
That I don't know. But I think there is this tension of Jeff wanting to deliver the martyrdom story, and also on some level, I think they want this franchise to continue, right? Like Tom Cruise has said, I want to keep doing this into my 80s, like Harrison Ford. That's what he said. He's like, I want to keep making action movies until I'm dead. That's what he has said he wants to do.
That's a bad idea. It didn't work well for Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Don't compare yourself to the movies that shouldn't have been made.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree, and I think this, in my opinion, would be a good swan song for the franchise if it was. I actually liked the movie. I thought it would be a good ending, but I also think it should be an ending, and it is a bit of a bummer that like this franchise has become so inextricably tied with Tom Cruise. Like it really.
I mean, it always was. It always was. He produced it. When it started in the 90s, everyone's like, oh, this pretty boy has his own flagship franchise now. Like that was the thing. But what he always did was put himself in the hands of good directors and be like, use me. Do point me in the right direction. And I think like that was true with him and McQuarrie for a while, but also he is now Tom Cruise's house director. And I don't think McQuarrie can say no anymore.
Well, that's true. So first of all, I'll just say that I think there was an opportunity to like hand this thing off to other people.
Yeah.
Was never like there. I remember at the time there was speculation that like Jeremy Renner would be the taker.
He's
Did
always
not
the
work
guy.
out.
Jeremy Renner. He's always the guy.
But
it never works out.
That didn't happen, and I think that's fine that didn't happen. But yeah.
I think this franchise does not survive without Tom Cruise. It is. His stunt work is the franchise. It's synonymous with yes.
So Devindra, I will agree that there is on a script level, like these last couple movies haven't really worked very well, and I think Chris McQuarrie is also writing the movies, and I think there's some weaknesses there. However,
and they have writing help too. There's a co-writer too.
That's right, Eric Jenderson. I will say that one of the things that I really appreciated reading this profile in GQ about the making of these movies is wherever Tom goes, Chris McQuarrie needs to go there too. Like, and that's something
sad.
that is worth appreciating. Like he's like. Tom Cruise is like going up in planes and jumping off and hanging out, and Chris McQuarrie needs to be up there. He's not just like on the ground doing he's on a plane as well doing the, and it's like, and yes, like I wish these movies were better. I wish like, again, from a script level, it wasn't so boring for a lot of this film. And I wish it wasn't so self-important, but at the end of the day, Tom Cruise has found his guy that's willing to like basically go on these adventures with him. And there's something kind of nice about that. Not everyone can find the person that's going to go on adventures with you. And he found someone in Chris McQuarrie, and it's like
it's a lovely bromance. It is a lovely bromance. I've seen them do interviews together.
Something that was in the profile was like, I need you to spend like 3 weeks in an underground tank, like an underground water tank, doing this scene. And he's like, a lot of directors will do that one time. They'll be like, yeah, I'm willing to do that one time, and then I'm never going to work with Tom Cruise again. Like that's what it is. But Chris McQuarrie is like, he's game to keep doing the stuff, and that's rare. That's rare.
Did it help make the movies better?
Yeah. I mean, in many ways.
I'm glad they're having fun. I'm glad they're hanging out. We're here to see a goddamn movie.
Yeah. All right. Well,
do you think they hang? Yeah. I don't know if they. Do you think they hang, or do you think this is?
No, I think
this is the sum total of their relationship.
I think
how do you hang with Tom Cruise? Like, there's videos of him. Like, he was at a theater and he was talking to employees for just like 30 minutes because he is such like kind of a sociopath that he can kind of just turn it on. You get full charm. I could do this all day. Full charm, Tom Cruise charm.
And also, wild. He really loves movies, Devindra. He really loves movies.
He really does love movies.
Yep. All right, well, guys, at the end of the day, it is really impressive that Chris McQuarrie made a movie. Thank you so much for watching this video of the Filmcast. Check out these other videos that we have available, and be sure to hit like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get other videos from us in the future.
You can also go to thefilmcast.com to catch all of our audio podcast versions of all of our episodes.
And support this podcast at patreon.com/filmpodcast, where you can sign up for ad-free episodes and exclusive After Darks.
Thanks so much to everyone who makes the Filmcast possible.